Are you an ambitious professional man hating how you look yourself in the mirror and you are feeling stuck every single January when you're trying to lose weight? In this video, I'm going to share 5 biggest fat loss lies that is keeping you stuck, overweight, yo-yo dieting, and by following the tips till the end, you can finally lose the weight for good and become the most healthiest version of yourself. If you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel yet, make sure you hit the subscribe button and also turn on the bell to get notified whenever I'm making a new video about weight loss advice every single week for ambitious professional men. And also make sure you hit the like button. I use these strategies to lose 60 pounds in 8 months and kept it off for 13 years, and I've helped dozens of men just like you lose up to 60 pounds and finally escape the yo-yo dieting cycle. And if you're tired of constantly losing and gaining the same weight back, I want to help you get to your healthy self without giving up the foods that you love. The first fat loss lie you've been told is that you are still believing that low carb diets are superior to every other single diet you've been trying. But the problem with low carb diet is if you are trying to lose weight, you are probably just someone who's thinking, okay, I don't need to eat any carbs at all, I'm following the keto diet. The problem with the keto diet is that in order to lose weight and maintain it over a sustainable amount of time, you need to adjust your calories. Let's imagine that you are eating in a calorie deficit. You are having maintenance calories at 2000 calories. You have 200 calories in deficit, then you lose weight. But the problem is that you are still thinking that if you remove all the carbs, then a lot of the calories coming from the carbs, you are dropping down to, let's say, 1200 calories or 1000 calories. You are not able to sustain that amount of calories for a long period of time, because if you're working out with strength training and doing a lot of cardio and doing a lot of steps every single day, it will make you tired. And if you don't have any carbs to replenish your glycogen stores, which basically means that you've been using a lot of carbs to, for example, store in your muscles, you are not having the amount of energy to replenish your body. So you are not having anything that you can rest very fast. So if you have no carbs at all, you just feel tired all the time, and you are still very exhausted from the workout. And if you are entering your work and you need to do a presentation at work and you feel very tired, it's most likely because that you have not consumed enough carbs. And eating a lot of for example, high protein diet can definitely help you with losing more weight, but you also need to have adjusted that so you have, for example, a medium to high carb diet, because high carb diet is just replenishing your glycogen stores, so you have a lot of energy to recover after your workout, so you can have more focus when you are trying to, for example, talk with your clients and you have to do all these presentations to make sure that you are hitting your sales numbers at work and getting the promotions that you want. If you are still believing that every single year you're trying to lose weight, you are losing some weight with the, for example, removing the carbs. For example, if you are removing, let's say, 500 calories of carbs, you are most likely not able to sustain that for a long period of time, because carbs is also something that is going to make you feel full for longer. I always distinguish between fast digestible and slow digestible carbs. Slow digestible carbs is something that can help you release the amount of energy in the food over a slow period of time, so you don't necessarily feel hungry. So a lot of people, like ambitious professional, for example, a lot of the clients that I've been working with, they are struggling with the cravings. And cravings is also more proponent if you are having zero carbs in your diet, because if you feel fuller for longer and you're also drinking 3-4 liters of water every single day, you feel much fuller. If you are not having any carbs, you don't feel full at all. And having more carbs also has a lot of benefits in regards to if you are structuring the amount of carbs you're getting with 20 or 30 grams of fibers. That can also reduce the hunger levels and also the cravings. In order to lose weight sustainably, you need to follow a calorie deficit diet and also having high sustainable energy levels to make sure that you are, for example, getting through the day and the workout, so you have more energy for the other day. If you're constantly just removing all the carbs, you're just feeling like you're exhausted and it feels like a marathon, and you want to give up before you are finishing the first week of your diet. The second biggest lie you've been told as an ambitious professional man is that you are still believing that not weight training is something that can help you. For example, if you are someone who really wants to get a lean, tall, muscular body that you can feel proud of, for example, when you are wearing nice suits, and also if you are naked and you want to impress your wife, you definitely need to weight train. For example, if you are doing, for example, only cardio at the gym, you are losing some sort of weight, and sometimes if you are increasing the amount of cardio you've been doing, you are actually just being not so pro. For example, you're not losing all the weight in the right way, you are just removing all the fat and also all the muscles. If you are in a calorie deficit, alongside with being in losing weight with the amount of cardio, you will lose weight even faster. But what I'm always focusing on is, if you're in a calorie deficit and have a high protein diet, like 45 of your daily calories coming from protein, you are signaling to your body that you are maintaining the muscle mass, and also you're reducing a lot of the fat. So when you're, for example, trying to lose weight and you're using strength training, you are building more muscle. And by building more muscle, there's two components that I'm really focusing on. There's progressive overload, where you are constantly increasing the amount of weight you are lifting. By doing that, you are going to build even more muscle, and through rest and recovery, you are building even more muscle and getting stronger. And you also want to focusing on, for example, higher protein diets that can definitely help you reducing the cravings when you are trying to lose weight, because cravings can definitely make you feel that you want to cheat way often. I remember I was cheating a lot back in the days when I didn't have a high protein diet. So also having my muscle connection, where you want to, for example, study the body, and also exercise where you are actually targeting the right muscle groups. For example, I see a lot of guys who are trying to lose weight. What they end up with when they are losing weight is that they have big legs and a small over body and big arms. Reason for that is that my muscle connection is not so good. It's easier to, for example, train the legs, because there's just doing squats and then you're targeting the whole muscle groups in the, for example, in the legs. But if you want to get the bigger chest, bigger broad shoulders, bigger arms, it gets more like an hourglass figure or a V-shaper that makes it more beautiful to look at. So if you are not familiar with the types of muscle groups that you're targeting, and you are not having the right technique and form, for example, if you are trying to target the upper part of the chest, you can most likely just targeting the traps, like this is the traps, because you are not arching your back and you are not feeling the muscle being worked when you're trying to lift weights. So I always focusing on the sensation of the muscle being worked compared to the amount of weight that is getting pushed, because that can definitely make it more difficult to targeting the specific muscles. And also in regards to targeting the shoulders, that can also be very tricky because you have not studied the three caps of the shoulder. So I always focusing on, when I'm trying to lift weight with, for example, targeting the shoulders, that I'm starting with the front tilt, where I'm using military press. I'm doing 10-12 reps for 4 sets, and then always trying to increase the weight 125 kilos, and eventually I'm just hitting for example, failure 1 to 2 reps before 12 reps, and then I'm resting, and then I'm doing that again and again and again, and then I'm going over to, for example, another compound movement that is called shoulder press with dumbbells. That's also targeting the front part of the shoulders, and then I go over to shoulder press, like lateral raises, where I am also doing the same stuff. And then and of course I'm standing when I'm doing shoulder press, and then I'm sitting down, because you're always feeling fatigued when you've been using lateral raises, because it's just a very demanding exercise. Then you sit down, and then you can pull more weight with the lateral raises, because that's just going to, you're squeezing all the energy out from the muscles, and you're just depleting it. Also, you're very tight, so you have a bigger chance of muscle growth. So that's just what I would suggest when you're trying to focusing on getting this lean toned muscular body, because at the end of the day it's just about targeting the specific muscles you are training. And if you don't feel that you have a connection with the type of muscles that you've been trying to work out, you are not going to break down muscle tissues. What is your biggest takeaway from the video so far? Just comment below and let me know. And the third biggest fat loss lie you've been told is that you are probably just going overboard with your cheat meals and free meals. Reason for that is, if you are trying to following a calorie deficit diet, you want to sustain that for a long period of time so you are losing weight all around your body. But if you are suddenly just throwing in a cheat meal like at the end of the week, and you are overboarding with like 700 or 1000 calories, and you're thinking that you want to cheat the whole week, that makes it difficult to have the calorie deficit that you've been creating throughout the week with strength training, cardio, steps on a daily basis. The amount of calories you've been burning is just being consumed through eating all this junk food that you've been doing, and that makes it very difficult for you to lose weight. So you are losing weight, then you're gaining it back all the time. That's an endless cycle that is making it very frustrating for you, and you're feeling frustrated that you're not seeing the results that you want. And also another fat loss slice that I believe that has been making it very hard for you is that you're not tracking your weight loss correctly. You're probably just focusing on the scale when you're trying to lose weight, but also that can be difficult, because I see a lot of ambitious professional men, they first thing in the morning when they go to the bathroom, they are weighing themselves, but there's a right way and a wrong way to weigh yourself. If you are someone who's just waking up and you go to the gym, you've been drinking, you've been eating, and then you go on a scale with your clothes on at the gym and you weigh yourself, that is problem with that is when you're drinking and you are eating and having clothes on, you are not getting the accurate amount of weight on the scale. It can be affected by the different kinds of clothes that you have on the same day. You've been drinking more water than you need, and a lot of water weight can also affect the scale. So what I always do is that I'm going first thing in the morning. For example, Monday, I'm weighing myself on a scale after taking a dump, and I'm also having no clothes on, because if you have no clothes on, there's nothing that can affect the scale, and you're not drinking or eating anything. So that number I'm writing down. And of course, I'm also just taking a look in myself in the mirror, because I used to be at my heaviest weight and I hate how I look myself in the mirror and also in pictures. So I was just avoiding that, but that can also get you a realization that what you are looking at is something that should fuel your fire and also make you feel that you should put your shit together when you're trying to lose weight. Because if you keep stalling, if you keep cheat meals all the time, and you feel like it's affecting your personal life in the way that your wife doesn't want to sleep with you anymore, and you feel that you don't want to go to family events because of you just not feeling comfortable and proud in how you look. And that also translates when you are at work talking with clients. Of course, clients can feel that you don't feel comfortable when you are like portraying like some ideas, and you don't feel confident when you are saying that. Also, your boss can also most likely just don't feel confident in promoting you, because you don't feel confident when you're just talking. If you take a glance in the mirror and you don't feel that what you're seeing is the type of person that you really are, I always remember that is something that I really use as a motivation, because self-esteem wise, you just want to go to the mirror and just look at yourself and saying, hey, that dude looks awesome. But if you're just feeling disgusted and you're like looking like this, that doesn't make you as a man like feeling proud. So tracking yourself by weighing on a scale can definitely help you, and also with body measurement tape that can help you. For example, if you're weighing yourself, that's one way to do that every single week, but you should also measure yourself every single fourth week, and also taking body pictures like front, back, and side, because that helps you give you a more accurate way of how your weight loss is looking. I always focusing on fat loss, because if you are building a lot more muscle with high protein diets and strength training, you are building a lot more muscle over the frame here, but also you are losing a lot of inches from your waist. If you're, for example, only focusing on the scale, that can make you feel very frustrated, because every single day it can affect for example, if you drink more water the day before, it can also affect the scale. So always having like the measurements that can help you, because you can lose several inches from your waist. You can build a lot more muscle on a frame, so that's a good sign. The last fat loss lie that you're believing is that you are still believing that home workouts is the way to do it. Unless you have a professional gym at home where you have all the equipment and you have different kinds of weight that you can put on the machines, so you can constantly improving your, for example, progressive overload, and you can also get stronger, and you have all the necessary cardio machines like a stationary bike, you have a treadmill, you have a cross trainer, and you also have, for example, professional gear like gym gear that is targeting different kinds of muscle groups. That is awesome, but most people just don't have that. And the reason why, if you keep following these YouTube videos where it says 5-10 minutes workouts where you can, for example, no jumping, no equipment, it's just not the best way to lose weight. The reason for that is, if you're someone who is seriously about building a lean toned muscular body and also track your results without feeling frustrated, it's way easier if you go into the gym and you have all the necessary machines that can target specific muscle groups. If you are at home, you want to target an upper chest and you don't have any dumbbells and you feel like you just doing some shit where you are using your arms and doing like this weighting, there's not enough muscle and tension to break down the muscle tissues, because it just requires a specific amount of weight to push yourself to past failure, and increasing the weight to keep yourself out of the comfort zone and constantly increasing the weight, so you are, for example, building like breaking down the muscle tissues even more, and through rest and recovery building it more up. And just tracking all these numbers can definitely help you build a lot more muscle every single week. And then you are just targeting other parts of the muscle, so you can increase the muscle mass there, and the more muscle mass you have, the faster you lose weight. And also, if you want to lose weight even faster without breaking too much sweat and frustrations, it's always best to have some cardio machines where you can actually, for example, track your, for example, amount of outputs you've been putting. I always focus on having a cross train or stationary bike where there's some resistance, because if there's resistance, you are burning even more calories compared to if you're just going out for a run. It's difficult to track your results on if you're going for a run, or if you're just at home and you are like using the rope and doing some rope for 5-10 minutes. That's just not easier to track, and you're not burning as much calories in the 20 minutes you're doing that compared to a cross trainer. So that's just what I always recommend. And if you're seeing a lot of the people who are, for example, using home workouts, and they are saying that you can get a lean toned muscular body with that, of course there are some factors that plays into mind where you just need to have the right equipment. But a lot of these, for example, people, I've seen them, they're very slim, and sometimes just when you are trying to lose weight, you can of course lose a lot of weight, but if the goal is to get a lean toned muscular body, it's just way easier to go into the gym and just doing it that way. I'm just talking from my own experience, because I've been doing a lot of home workouts. I've not seen the results, and what I've really made a big change for me was just going to the gym, sign up, and also having a trainer with me, because I used to work out without a trainer. So with a trainer definitely helped me. So if you're someone who at your heaviest weight you've ever been, and you really want to lose weight and become the most healthiest version of yourself, just like you saw with the transformation pictures of me in the beginning of the video and my client, there's a link in the description and also in the comment section where you can just apply for a free call with me, and we'll just see if we are fit to work together and just help build a game plan to help you lose the weight for good.